Now, I'm glad you come back every Sunday, because every week I have this feeling like I have so much I want to say about any given topic that we'd be here for too many hours, and your brain couldn't absorb it all anyway. But there's that feeling in me of, oh, what to say today, what to wait till another time. And then when I know what's going on in people's lives around here, it's like, I want to veer off the topic and say something completely different. What I know is that there's a whole lot going on, way more than meets our eye. And that if we just believe applies to that. That song is on so many levels, and I know your level thing. If we just believe, if we just hold on to that idea that we don't have all the answers. We do the best that we can in this philosophy to say this is what we think it is, this is what we think life is, this is what we think God is, but there's no way that we have all the answers. We don't have all the answers, and sometimes we're called to just believe there's something bigger going on. I'm sort of kind of trying to work on a book, and that's the title, More Going On Than Meets the Eye.
Thanks.
I said it out loud, so that means
That's good.
putting in a little bit more intention.
Yeah.
The reason I say sort of is because I've been kind of dragging my feet. It's in there. It's in there. I just have to get that piece of me that says, oh, but I'm not a writer. But there's another piece of me that says, oh, yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. So anyway, that's another topic. But more going on in meets the eye sort of sets things up for today. This whole month in September, I'm doing the basics as they apply to everyday things that we all struggle with from time to time. Know this, that no matter what basics I say, I'm calling them basic 1, basic 2, basic 3. I'm giving them a number just because a lot of us like to think that way. But really, every single basic that I'm presenting in September applies to every single topic. It's not like this one applies to that topic. They all apply to everything. Okay, but I'm just doing it in a way that's going to help our brains kind of be linear with it. So basic number 1 from last week was this. Richard?
Technology.
Basic number 1. You heard that a few times? This to me, if there's no other affirmation for you to say every single day, it's this one. Come back over and over and over to this affirmation. There's only one source. God is all there is. Until we move it out of our intellectual thinking into our everyday living. Because therein lies the challenge for most of us humans. We get it, but we don't always live it. God is all there is. There's only one source. Over and over and over and over, applied to any topic we can ever imagine, is always basic number 1. This wasn't a basic, but this is something Ernest Holmes says that I shared with us last week. To learn how to think is to learn how to live. Our philosophy does not tell us what to think. It does not tell us what rules we have to follow. It does not tell us what we can eat on Friday or any other day. It does not tell us what kind of clothing we wear. It does not tell us who we can or cannot marry. On and on and on. This philosophy says learn how to think, not what to think. So those of you who need those answers about what's that answer, that's not what we do here. We want you to get to the mindset of thinking, not, when I say for yourself, remember who yourself is. To think from the infinite of basic number 1. That is all there is. So learning how to think can be applied to any topic once we really learn how to think. Now I have an Ernest Holmes quote that I'm going to start us with that ties these two ideas. God is all there is, and learning how to think is learning how to live. It ties up that, and it also sets me up for today's topic. Ernest Holmes says, perhaps the simplest way to state the proposition is to say that we are surrounded by a mind, capital M, or an intelligence that knows everything. That the potential knowledge, potential is really key, potential knowledge of all things exists in this mind. That we also exist in it and may draw from it. And in capital bold letters, Ernest Holmes says, but what we draw from it, we must draw through the channel of our own minds. what we draw from it, we must draw from the channel of our own minds. It's not going to do it to us. It's going to do it through us. So that ties in, God is all there is, and we're learning how to think. How are we learning how to think? From the infinite. We're learning how to bring it through us. Which then sets me up for today. But before I do that, I want to just do a very quick recap of last week, which was the basics applied to inner peace. The four main things that I reminded us is that problem number one is that we look out there for our peace. And that's not where to find it. Peace is an inside job. We can find all kinds of things to disturb our peace. We're not on that one yet. All kinds of things to disturb our inner peace. Don't even leave.
I'm having technical challenges.
Okay, where was I? So the things that disturb us are usually the things out there. That the inner peace is needed. We don't want to allow other people to disturb us. Sometimes we do. It's all right, we get off track, we get off balance. But I said to us, the important thing is not that we get off balance. The important thing is that we find a ways to get ourselves back on balance. Back in balance, back on track. So what affirmations, what thoughts will you be using to get yourself back to a place of peace, reminding ourselves that peace is an inside job? And one of the things that I ended us with last week is the idea that if we live in this now moment, right now, peace is. Right now, God is. The great I am is right here. And I read us a quote that said, God is not the I was, and God is not the I will be, although God is everything. But for us to apply it right now. So right now, there may be things that if I tell you, call to mind something you're worried about, you can do it. Everybody can. But that's not something that's happening right now, except in your imagination. Right now, you're sitting in a chair, you're listening to good music, you're listening to a prayer, you're listening to a message, all is good. The only place anything might be disturbed is pastor preacher. So right now, all is well. Right now, in this moment, I am peaceful. And that was sort of the wrap up from last week. Basic number 2 was this, my funny little drawing that said,
Okay.
basic number 2 is that we have choice. So over here on the left, we want to acknowledge whatever is going on, whatever's challenging us, whatever the issue is, we want to acknowledge it. We don't want to bury our head in the sand like denial. It never works for anybody. Right in the middle of the circle is our point of choice. Remember, whatever's going on doesn't need to stay this way. We can have a new thought and a new belief. And underneath it is, how do we get the new thoughts and our beliefs? Well, here's some tools. Our affirmations, our prayer, our imagination. Let your imagination work for you for good. Your visualization, all these things help us at that place of, I'm at a point of choice right now. And then, once we start moving into the new, we move to it in gratitude, as if it's already true, because in spirit it already is. This is just a really good visual. Acknowledge, point of choice, grateful for the new. Right, that was basic number 2, and that applies to everything you're going to see that every single week, because it applies to every single one of those. Now today we're talking about abundance. So the basics as applied to abundance. I want to give you a couple of AKAs for the word abundance. Abundance, supply. When you read Ernest Holmes, you hear him use the word supply a lot. Money, my favorite, resources. The reason I love resources is broader than any of those things. Money is wonderful, but it's also a resource. Money is kind of focused narrowly. Resources are broad. All the resources I need, all the abundance I need. So interchange those words how you want to. Abundance, supply, money, resources, all good. That's what we mean by we're talking about abundance. I have 3 books that I'm not going to quote from today. I just want to share them with you. If anybody wants to delve in further, you've probably heard me say my number 1 favorite is by Eric Butterworth, and it's called Spiritual Economics. So for those of you who like to go do some of your own work and research, that's my numero uno. Spiritual Economics by Eric Butterworth. My second is Any Works by Catherine Ponder. This happens to be called The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity. She also writes smaller books. So if you're not the kind who likes big books, she writes ones that are this size as well. But Catherine Ponder writes some beautiful things. And this book is filled with stories. So it's not just heady stuff, it's people's stories.